more calm, calculating guy. So I don't think it will happen, even if Gruden wants to do it. Cooler heads will prevail. So I
Right.
don't think that'll happen. So who are your? Can I get? Yeah, maybe like a late round guys who can maybe come in and help pass block.
Oh, so I have I have about 1,000 late round running backs that I really like this year. First of all, I think the only guys who are locks to go in the top 3 rounds are Jacobs, Daryl Henderson, Miles Sanders, and Damian Harris, the other running back from Alabama.
Got
I
it.
think past that, you might get another couple. Devin Singletary could go in the top 100. You might get one or two more, but somebody who most people think is going to go in the top 100 could potentially be there in the 4th round for the Raiders. Someone like a David Montgomery. Um, but moving past that, going to the 5th and even the 7th round for the Raiders, you've got
Yeah, they actually do
you
grow
can
on
take the
trees,
chance.
don't they? A lot of them.
They really do. Yeah, I mean, they really do. And especially in this class, day 3 and moving on to the undrafted free agents, this class is terrific. I really like it. Um, Alex Barnes just was completely he blew up the combine, but he also had a very good year at Kansas State. So he's going to be in that range. Higdon from Michigan is going to be in that range. He's another one of these guys who isn't going to do anything spectacular, but he could do a little bit of everything. Miles Gaskin from Washington. He was a college superstar, and he's going to be in that 5th to 7th round range. Alexander Madison from Boise State is another one who's going to go there. I could see Dexter Williams from Notre Dame not even getting drafted. Wouldn't surprise me.
There's a lot
So
of
he's the
guys.
type of guy that maybe. What's that?
Yeah, I'm saying there are a lot of guys in the.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Dexter Williams was suspended for 4 games. And, you look at just last year, Notre Dame's Josh Adams, the running back for the Eagles. He didn't get drafted. They brought him in, and he played a pretty big role for them down the stretch. You've got Wes Hills from Slippery Rock. There are a lot of running backs. So, yeah, there are plenty of options for the Raiders.
Got it. Yeah, and I also agree. I mean, I haven't looked at the data, but PFF writes articles all the time about how you can get a running back that'll probably give you as much production as a first rounder and the 4th rounder. So yeah, I definitely hope the Raiders do pass on a running back early. Let's get to our biggest need now: pass rushers. Is there anyone worth? I mean, besides Quinnen Williams on the inside, is there anyone worth spending a number 4 pick on besides Quinnen and Josh Allen and Nick Bosa, who I'm sure probably will be gone by that time? But just in case all 3 of them are gone, right? Nick Bosa. Is there anyone else that makes sense with the number 4 overall pick?
No. So if Bosa, Josh Allen, and Quinnen Williams are gone, obviously Quinnen Williams is not an edge player, like you mentioned.
Pass rusher,
Like
yep.
Right. No, I would trade down. I'd find somebody who wants a quarterback, and I would make that deal. And if I really couldn't get anybody to make that deal, which would surprise me, because I think at that point someone would want one of those quarterbacks, then I think the pick's got to be Devin White. And I, with the 4th pick, if you're not trading down, if you're keeping that pick, I think it's as simple as it could ever possibly be for the Raiders. It should be one of those 3 linemen or Devin White if Kyler Murray somehow doesn't go in the top 3.
And what about Ed Oliver playing a strong side defensive end? Do you think he can learn to play that? Or is he just more of an athlete than, a defensive end at this point?
Well, I think he has the potential to play strong side defensive end. The only issue is he's a little bit short for the position.
Yeah,
And
and arms are pretty short.
Right. Oh, absolutely. And when you're picking that high, when you're picking fourth overall, I don't think you really want to make that much of a projection. I think you want to
Right.
go with something safe.
Yep.
Josh Allen, they moved him from an outside linebacker position to really more of a defensive end role this year. And he had 17 sacks and I don't know, 6 forced fumbles, something like that. I don't have the stats in front of me. Bosa, he's a technician. He's a perfect strong side linebacker who's also going to give you the pass rush. And then Quinnen Williams is just, we've got Maurice Hurst. He's our 3 technique, but having Maurice Hurst and Quinnen Williams lined up next to each other on passing downs and, moving those guys, finding ways to be creative and get those guys into the lineup, that would absolutely wreak havoc on the interiors of, offensive lines that the team plays against for the next few years.
Right, and Maurice Hurts could easily be a situational pass rusher from the inside, with Quinnen Williams being in the 3 technique and Jonathan Hankins or Jelly playing the 1 technique in the early downs and bringing in Maurice Hurts. That would be solid as well.
Right, and since you brought up Jelly Ellis, I just want to throw out one potential pick at 24 or 27 that hasn't really been talked about or mentioned anywhere, but it's just a possibility because we know that there are so many of them because the Raiders have so many picks. I wouldn't be shocked if the Raiders drafted Dexter Lawrence, the nose tackle from Clemson, and looked to move Jelly Ellis. In other words, trade Jelly Ellis. That's not a name that I've seen attached to the Raiders, but it wouldn't shock me.
Now, I was surprised when they signed Jonathan Hankins because they're both run pluggers. Does a team need 2 run pluggers even if they drafted Dexter Lawrence? Then you would have Dexter Lawrence and what's his name that we just signed? Dexter Lawrence and yeah. So would the Raiders need 2 run pluggers in the inside?
No, I don't think that they need 2 of them. Apparently, they what the issue probably is they looked at what happened last year where Ellis got hurt in the opening week and they said, this isn't good. So we need to have an extra nose tackle in here just in case. But I think you could get away without having 2 of them.
Yeah, that would be surprising to a lot of people if that did happen, but it wouldn't be shocking or anything like that. Who are the guys do you think will be available 24? Because I think there's a bunch of guys, even if the Raiders waited till 24 or 27 to address the edge rusher position, or 35. I think there's a few guys, guys like Montez Sweat might fall. I don't see the media being really high on the Clemson guy, Cleveland Ferrell. Yeah. Do you think they both fall to 24?
So I think there's some potential Sweat falls. He was supposed to be at the draft. He just announced the other day that he's not going to be there. That could very well be tied to what his agent is hearing. I think there's some precedent for these guys with these heart issues. I think Maurice Hurst was a little bit of an outlier because he had the whole thing where he couldn't work out at any point, and teams were really scared off by that. And again, this is where I have to put that disclaimer out there. I'm not a doctor, so I don't know. But you have Star Latulippe was supposed to be a high first-round pick, had the heart issue. He went middle of the first round. You had Quentin Groves, former Raider who got drafted by the Jaguars, and he was supposed to go about a round higher than he went. You had Reggie Ragland, the linebacker from Alabama. He was supposed to be a mid-first round pick. As a matter of fact, I think I remember him being a popular choice in mock drafts for the Raiders, and he ended up going in the second round. So the precedent here with these guys is they usually end up getting knocked down about a half round to a round. And that could put Montez Sweat in the territory where the Raiders could draft him. And I would absolutely pull the trigger as long as the doctors felt comfortable that, it was safe for him to play. As far as Cleveland Ferrell, I think he's going to be gone. I really don't think he makes it. I think if he gets to 24, I don't think you hesitate. I think you go and draft him. But I just don't think he's going to be there. I think the media is underrating him a little bit. I think there's probably a better chance that Brian Burns is there just because talented as a rusher as he is, he played at like 215 pounds a couple years ago. Those guys, you're not going to hold up defensive end against the run at 220, 230 pounds.
And I don't know if the Raiders would want him with Arden Key already there playing, at a lighter weight. I don't know if he's the type of guy Gunther would want. Gunther likes, correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like Gunther likes long, tall guys like Farrell and Sweat, play defensive end.
Yeah.
Who are some of the guys?
You're absolutely right.
Who do you think would be available with the 35th pick and into the 4th round, because we don't have a 3rd round pick, that could potentially, fit?
The name that jumps off the page at 35 is Jalen Ferguson from Louisiana Tech. It's the all-time FBS sack leader. Everybody's making a big deal about his 3-cone drill. His 3-cone drill was really bad. I mean, it was terrible.
I heard he's still running it.
What's that?
I said I heard he's still running it at the moment. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think it's still going at this point. But I've kind of been making the joke the past couple weeks that when he gets to the NFL, he's just going to run through those cones. And when you watch him play, and he does that. I mean, he runs through guys. And usually when you have a guy that's that big, that has that type of production as a pass rusher, that translates to the NFL. So I think he'd be a solid pick at 35. You could make the case for Chase Winovich there as well. He's, Rashawn Gary is going to be the higher pick. Chase Winovich was the much better player. Obviously, Gary's got a higher ceiling, right. But Winovich would be a solid pick at 35 as well. Those are really the only two guys that I would consider at 35, and I like Ferguson a lot better than Winovich.
Yeah, Winovich, surprisingly, when I watch his tape, he's really good.
He is.
He's underrated. Are there any guys who can come in and help, and maybe that'll last into the 4th round? Or should the Raiders get 2 defensive line pass rushers in the top 35?
No, I think you could certainly find some help in the 4th round. Because remember, that 4th round pick is an early one. So you've got some guys like John Kaminsky from Charleston. Now, there's the perfect guy. Earlier, I was talking about taking a guy and pairing him with Arden Key on one side of the field. John Kaminsky's that guy. There's your strong side defensive end. He's not a great pass rusher, but he's going to hold up against the run. And he also batted a lot of passes down in school. So he'd be a great fit in the 4th round. I think Charles Omenihu from Texas is another strong side defensive end who could be a good fit in the 4th round. Joe Jackson from Miami. I don't think he goes in the top 100 at this point. He had an absolutely abysmal workout period. He didn't run at the combine and didn't want to work out, and that whole disaster kind of carried through to his pro day. I think his vertical leap was like 29 inches or something like that. So that's going to hurt him. That's a guy that originally people thought he was going to go in the 2nd round, and now he could be there in the 4th. There's a chance Max Crosby from Eastern Michigan could get to the Raiders in the 4th round. His 3-cone drill was outstanding, which is one of the biggest indicators of being a good pass rusher in the league. So there are certainly some options. And one more is Anthony Nelson from Iowa. it's a little bit tall, but there's another strong side